Prince Charles, who is now King Charles III, has made his first public speech to his country, not just the United Kingdom, but to the Commonwealth, and more specifically, the other realms which he is head of state of. Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Jamaica, Belize, Grenada, Bahamas, um, Papua New Guinea. It's very important to mention that because a lot of times we down here in the Commonwealth we get forgotten. I'm Canadian, so sometimes we get forgotten. We need to also know, hey, he's the king too, even though I've always been against the royal family of Britain being the head of state of Canada. Nevertheless, that's the way it is. And if that's the way it is for right now, we need some recognition. So I like to mention those things. Anyway, so he has made his first speech to the nation, which I think was a very touching speech. I mean, I don't care what anyone says. I'm not a very overly emotional person, but when he talked about his mother and all that, I almost kind of felt a little bit. I almost thought I was gonna cry. It was kind of touching, that here's this guy. He's, whatever you think of monarchy, and I know a lot of people are against it and all that stuff. Right now, just it's not the time for that right now. You know, Here's this guy who's been, dealing with this his whole life. From the time he was coming out of his mother's womb, the queen, he has been preparing for this day his whole life. Many people expecting him to fail. And, there are a lot of things that I disagree with Charles on about, he's a bit of a globalist. But, I do think that privately, King Charles is a good person. I do believe that he is not a malicious. I do believe his heart is in the right place. Maybe he's slightly naive. I don't know. But I do believe him and Camilla are good people. And I'm glad Camilla is queen because, Camilla has gone through a lot. Talked she's been talked to worse than a turd on the side of a toilet. I mean, she has been the type of things Camilla has gone through. And it's not exactly as if Camilla is necessarily a bad person. I don't think Camilla is, I mean, whatever happened between Charles and Diana, that's the past. I do believe, despite everything, Camilla has always kept her head down. She hasn't complained, unlike the subjects of this video. She's never complained about how she's been talked about. She's never, whined or whimpered or, expected any compensation. She's just done what she's got to do, stood by her man, supported him. I mean, when Prince Charles arrived in London, was greeting the crowds, and she was there standing by him, two steps behind. That was very admirable. I'm glad she's going to be queen. I am. Really, really, I don't care what anybody says. God save Queen Camilla, and you just got to get over it. And King Charles as well. And King Charles in that speech, I'm not going to play the whole thing. It was, you can find it on one of these social media channels, but I will play a specific part in the speech, which I believe signals a game, set, and match to the king. Uh, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, they have been slagging off the royal family and Prince Charles, as he was then known, he's this and that, he's this and that. It's really sad how one thing I've really not liked about the modern world is how it's always like it's appropriate to always give men a hard time. And it started with Diana and just publicly slagging off Charles, slagging him. You wouldn't dare talk like that about the queen. You be burned at the stake. People would tear you up. But nobody batted an eye. Prince Harry slagging off his father. Oh, he cut me off. He cut off my allowance. Meghan Markle there slagging up and using. I think Meghan Markle and Harry did this deliberately, using, I believe they thought just because Meghan was black, which she's not black, she's mixed race, but they wanted to use that as a weapon against the royal family and Charles. And if 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 she didn't get her way, they were going to use the race card. And I think that's a shame. That's a disgusting, atrocious, and they know that it would work. I mean, it hasn't really been working lately because I do feel that people did see right through her and him. We're gonna bring out the race card. If we don't get our way, if somebody says something or looks at us the wrong, we're gonna bring out the race card. Disgusting. Um, but King Charles, he mentioned them in his speech, talking about how he loves them because it's his children, and they'll always have a place to call home anytime they want to come to the castle or the palace or wherever the many different houses he's got. You've always got a home. You're abroad right now. We understand that, but you've always got a place to call home. And Charles didn't have to do that. And after hearing that, I just have to say, Meghan and Harry would be wise not to publicly slag off their father ever again if they don't want to seem or appear like complete and total wastrel, nobody, good for nothing, selfish brats. Because, with the queen dead, a woman who has always put herself, her country first, and her duty first, never complain, never explain. I'm not a monarchist. I'm not a monarchist. I'm not a monarchist. I am somebody who likes to give credit to good character. And the queen had good character. So all you people talking about, the commander-in-chief of Arana Nation, he's sucking up to the royal family, sucking up. No, not sucking up to the royal family, the institution, the crown. I think all of that stuff should be left in Britain and get out of Canada and Australia and all those places. I believe that. But I am sucking up the good character. Yay and amen, and boom, shakalaka goes right there. You've got this woman who is now dead, and we're celebrating her life, and everybody's talking about her sense of duty and her work ethic and her good character. And then Charles comes, and despite all of his problems and his failings, he publicly sends an olive branch to these two wastrels who've been slagging him off and using all kinds of modern techniques to try and bring him down, just like, unfortunately, Diana did. And Charles comes out, instead of attacking them, he says, no, this is my son, my daughter-in-law. I love you, and you have a place to go. You'll always have a place. They will be wise not to publicly slag him off again, unless they want to appear completely unattractive. The people, I don't believe the British people. I mean, they already can't stand Prince, but if they really, I don't even think the people who like them, the few people that like them, would think that it would be very tasteful after their father has reached out and been very kind, for them to, whatever their problems are with him, they can be dealt with in public. Mr. Engineer, let's play that piece. Let's play that part where King Charles mentions Meghan and Harry. Let's play that. I think it's important. Let's play it, please. Miss Engineer, please.
I want also to express my love for Harry and Meghan as they continue to build their lives overseas. In a little over a week's time, we will come together as a nation, as a Commonwealth, and indeed a global community, to lay my beloved mother to rest. In our sorrow, let us remember and draw strength from the light of her example.
All right, Miss Engineer, that was pretty much wrapped it up, and I think he said it quite nicely. He mentioned that he has nothing but love for his son and his daughter-in-law, and then he mentions, and I think that was a slight warning to them, talking about, in a few days they'll be putting his mother to rest, the queen, and everyone coming together, and let's celebrate her life by following her example of duty, work, and selflessness. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who have not been very dutiful, they've been very selfish, they've been very self-indulgent, they've been very modern. And I don't say that in a good way. I'm modern, but there's not a lot of things admirable about the modern character today. I think they would be well. They would do well. I think all of us, including even you, would do well to follow the example of someone who has died who showed exemplary good character. And I'm not talking about monarchy and all this stuff one more time. I'm talking about the character of someone, one of the last public figures who came from what we all know as the Great Generation, the World War II generation, the stiff upper lip generation, the good character generation, the sit up straight generation, the Christian generation, um, the country first generation, the coming together to build something greater than yourself generation, the generation which has given us some of the great things of the world which we now take for granted. I think we should all follow that example 100%. We'll see what happens as life goes on. This is your